So Joe, when you work in corporate America, a lot of times you're working towards the next promotion, to be the manager, to be the boss. Like you just have little milestones that you're working towards. You want to win a company contest or hit that bonus. As a solopreneur, you're already the CEO. You are already winning all of your contests.
And the bottle washer.
Exactly. And so how do you stay motivated? You don't have those little incentives that it's like, oh, I got a raise. Like you decide what you pay yourself. So that we hear this time and time again that people kind of get stuck in a rut because they don't have those wins. And so today I just kind of wanted to address how to stay motivated from that standpoint, because I think it's just really important to celebrate everything big and small. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree, because if you don't, like you said, you get stuck in a rut and you wind up feeling like every day is the same as the last one. And that can get tiring after a while. And you need to think about those things that can help you to feel good, to feel a little like it's a little special time, a little special day. But there's a lot of other aspects to staying motivated besides that. But I think that's an important one to start with, because it's probably one of the biggest risks that every solopreneur faces.
Yeah. Well, so what are some things that you have to stay motivated?
My things are the little things that, the podcast that gets a lot of downloads, a social media post that people really love, finishing off, like now we're writing the Solopreneur Business for Dummies book and finishing a chapter and feeling good about it. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've just learned to find the little joys in those little moments, because nobody's going to come really and pat me on the back or say, sometimes, we get a little team of people here, but
back, Joe.
Yes, thank you. But it's just, you have to find those things when you get that done. And I have to fight it, because sometimes it's like, okay, that's done. Let me go to the next thing. And it's like, that is not healthy. So you sit back and you read. You wrote a blog and you feel really proud of that blog, read it over again, and just kind of savor in the fact that you did something good. And that's what I do. I don't know. What about you?
I go hiking. As weird as that sounds, when I know that I did something well, because I'm like you, if I celebrate something, I'm like, oh, well, then I have momentum. I'm just going to keep cranking it out. And it's like, that's just a one-way ticket to burnout. And so what I've tried to do and train myself, because I love hiking, I love being outdoors and just exploring the mountains. And so I say, okay, if I get this chapter done, which I need to get this chapter done that I'm working on, then I can take the dog up to the mountains, hit the trails, and just be in my happy place. And that doesn't sound like a huge, pop the bottle of champagne celebration, but it's what I look forward to. And I know that until I get that one milestone done, I'm going to work and then celebrate with the things that I enjoy. But what I see time and time again is people will celebrate getting a new client or raising their prices, and they get a big paycheck. And then their celebration is they go blow it. And so I think that you also, when you're celebrating these milestones, still remember that you are a solopreneur and you have to prepare for the ebbs and flows that come with solopreneurship. So if you get a new client that's paying you, say, $5K, don't go spend $5K. Go celebrate, go have a nice dinner, do what you need to, but then save it. I see it happen so many times. And that's just my cautionary tale that I've heard from others.
And I've seen it with people with jobs. You get a big promotion, big raise, and all of a sudden, let's move. Let's buy a bigger house. Let's get a better car. It's like, no. Yeah, yes. Don't do that. But I'd like to take this in another direction too, because there's another aspect to this that I think is important for staying motivated. And this is something that I've kind of learned. For decades, my wife and I would jog. We jogged 15, 20 miles a week. And we moved a few years ago, got caught up in the whole moving thing. She broke her ankle. All this stuff happened. And recently she was told she should never run again. She should just walk. And the whole jogging thing kind of went by the wayside because she was half of my motivation.
Yeah.
And, so recently I have said, I've got to find some other thing. Because the jogging, I could do it here, but we live on this huge hill now, and getting back jogging back would be very difficult. We're incredibly high up and it's very steep. But anyway, so, I started doing other things. I started doing weight training. I started doing rowing machine. I have a rowing machine that I use and I alternate days. And I also, eat really, really healthy food. And I make sure I get enough sleep if at all possible. And then avoiding alcohol. And it's incredible what those changes of making sure you're getting the exercise, that you're not eating all processed food, eating healthy food, low fat, meats and lots of veggies and fruits, getting enough sleep and keeping the alcohol to a minimum is huge in terms of waking up and being excited to work.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And I mean, I feel like if you fail in one of those categories, it's kind of like a ripple effect, and it can impact everything else. Like I know if I have a couple glasses of wine, then I'm eating pizza at 9 p.m.
Yes,
and I wake up dehydrated, and then I'm not productive. I'm an early bird, and if anything throws off my schedule the day before, and I sleep in, I'm just off the rest of the day.
Yep, it's absolutely true, and I think some people feel like, I have to work, and they don't get enough sleep, and then you wake up. You're tired, then you say, I'm tired, maybe I should eat something. And then, it's a cycle. And I found it really, really works for me. It makes a huge, I can't tell you the difference it makes.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing I think that helps with motivation is, as you probably well know by now, I am not a naturally organized person, right? I am, if left to my nature, there would just be piles of stuff everywhere. And I wouldn't know where everything was in them either. But I have forced myself to get some level of organization, and doing that makes such a difference. I think recently you've heard me whining about, I got so many tabs open and I can't handle all these tabs and I need them. But I figured out how to create groupings of tabs around different things I'm working on. So now I go, I got to work on podcasts. Click, open up the podcast section. There's all my podcast stuff. I want to look at analytics. I click the analytics tab, and these kinds of things, they make you work more efficiently, but there's also this kind of level of dread that gets removed because you're not sitting there going, I don't know where that is. I got to look through 87 tabs, or I got to look through this huge pile to find, what it is I'm looking for. And you just then you get into procrastination mode, right? Let me check my social media feed to see if something's going on there. And it really helps to keep things organized so that you know where stuff is and you can get to what you need to do without having to break your brain in the process.
Well, and I think a big hurdle people run into it with that is they're like, well, when do I have the time to organize all of that? And I think you just have to look at it like an investment rather than an expense for an analogy there, because it will save you so much time in the long run. It's hard. It's one of those things where you'll have a mental block about it for weeks, maybe even months. And once you finally do it, you'll have that, I should have done that earlier. Realization.
I think it was Jay Schwedelson. I might not have been, but I think it was him. And he put a post up and he said, I just did something I've been putting off for 6 months. It took me 15 minutes. I will learn nothing from this.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what I do, Joe? When I have to clear up my inbox, when I need to clean up my tasks and everything, I do just put on my favorite TV show in the background because it's mindless work. Like you have to get the folders and you have to get the tabs. You have to get everything organized, but you're not performing brain surgery. So if it's helpful to have your favorite music playing, your favorite show on in the background, whatever.
Podcast.
Do this.
Like the aspiring solopreneur in the background. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Joe. Good shameless plug. Do whatever it takes. It doesn't have to be boring. You can even make that a game and then celebrate that one that you got it organized.
Well, it feels good afterwards. It's kind of like working out. I don't want to work out. Then you do it and you go, I feel good now. So it's a great investment. Another one for me, time blocking, right? Time blocking is great because you put it on your calendar. You got an hour to get this done. Now you got stress, right? Now you got pressure. If you lean into that, it can really help you crank out work and get things done and be motivated to work, not to be distracted and procrastinate.
But But
I used to be this time blocking lunatic. And I time blocked out my life for 2 weeks, and it doesn't work, right? You start planning more than a couple of days ahead, maybe beyond tomorrow. What happens is now all of a sudden priorities change. Something happens, something comes up, somebody needs something, And now your time blocking plan has got to be modified. So now you're spending time and wasting time modifying a plan that you spent time building. So you don't do it because you don't want to waste the time to change it after you set it up and you got to get the work done. So then you stop trusting your calendar, and then you miss a call with a potential client or something because you didn't pay attention to your calendar because it's loaded with all this stuff that you didn't need anymore. So my rule is time block for today, time block for tomorrow. Once in a blue moon, if something is critical to get done on a particular day and not before, I'll time block it. But that is done very judiciously.
Yeah. No, these are all great points. I think the biggest part about all of this is just to be mindful of it. Because a lot of times people are like, I can take care of myself later. I can celebrate my wins later. Everything's later. And that just isn't good for anybody. And so I think really prioritizing a plan of how you can achieve prioritizing fun time and achieve organizing and achieve taking care of yourself, put an actual plan in place for that so that you don't forget, because you will forget if you don't keep it top of mind.
One more question before we get wrapping up here. What do you think of affirmations as a way of staying motivated?
I really like them, but here's what I will say. So affirmations, mindfulness, manifestation, these are all things I think that are buzzwords right now. And people are like, well, and some people are like, ignore it immediately. And some people really buy into it. Affirmations are just a great way to set your intention for the day. And I don't know if you ever saw that video of the little girl on YouTube where she's like, I love my mom, I love my dad. And she's just in front of the mirror giving herself a total pep talk. I'll link it in the show notes because this video is worth a watch for everybody. I'm a big fan of affirmations. And I think if you set that intention at the beginning of the day to stay motivated with whatever affirmation you choose, it is so helpful rather than starting the day, sleeping through your alarm, being stressed out from the get-go. If you can just like lay in bed for a minute, think about those affirmations, it is a game changer. I know it's hard because so many people have positive or negative connotations with it, but the fact of the matter is it's just how you set your mind for the day.
Cool. I'm just curious. So awesome.
Yeah, but that's just our quick take on all of this. We would love to hear from all of you what you do to stay motivated. But as always, please give us that 5-star review, subscribe on your favorite platform, subscribe to YouTube. We so appreciate the support, and we will see you next time on The Aspiring Solopreneur.